Sanford in a bit of a jam here at the bottom half of the fifth inning, to say the least. They trail it by 7, and a new pitcher taking over with the bases full of Terriers. It'll be Devan Traglia out on the mound. Traglia, the third pitcher for the Sanford Bulldogs, called upon with his back against the wall, a very tough spot to come into. Still no one out in the inning.
15th appearance for Devan Traglia, no record. He's pitched 14 innings, 19 hits, 13 runs, 12 of those being earned, has walked 9 and struck out 13. Batters hitting .322 against him as he comes in. There's no more difficult spot for a pitcher to come in. The bases loaded, no one out, and he'll do his best to try and work out of that.
He's a redshirt sophomore out of Florence, Alabama. And he will be tasked with facing the third spot in this Wofford order. Heart of the Wofford order is up with the bases loaded. And they're running the risk of trying to put the kind of score together in this inning that they lost to Sanford by in this game a year ago. And that 12-3 Sanford win, which propelled the Bulldogs into the championship game. And Playstead, swinging out of his shoes, falls behind 0-1. A base hit from Playstead somewhere you would think would give us an identical score the other way of 12-3. The score that Wofford lost to Sanford by in the semifinal round in this very early contest a year ago. Here comes the 0-1 to Playstead outside. This one, the difference is very, very long way from being over, as we're just in the bottom half of the fifth. The senior right fielder for Wofford. They're all Southern Conference outfield selection. Guy they call J-Play because of his willingness to go wherever he's called upon, and that's been evident in his career. Started as a catcher for the Wofford Terriers in his tenure on campus, but some vertebrae issues moving him to first base and then eventually the outfield to make room for Connor Clancy, who is on deck to have a bat in the lineup, and he fouls one off his body. Everybody will retreat to their respective bases, and even still, he's moved in this tournament. Spent a lot of time toward the end of the season in left field, as you get another look at the pain of fouling that off. It looks like maybe his left toe or somewhere on the foot area. Moved from left field to right field to make room for Jennings to be inserted into the lineup upon their arrival in Charleston, based upon the final couple of weeks of the season. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Down to first. They'll come home, cut down the lead runner. That is all Sanford will get. But it is enough. 1 down and nobody scores. Station to station go the runners here in the fifth.
You mentioned Playstead fouling that off his body, and Jason, the toll that a baseball season has on a baseball player's body. And then you get to the end of the regular season, then you're playing this many games in an amount of time, and guys have to deal with soreness and pulls and aches and pains. And then when you foul a ball off of yourself and you hit a spot that may be sore, these guys, very impressive how they're able to come out here day in and day out and continue to play as hard as they can. They're trying to keep a career going as a senior, try to make a special run, and able to do the things necessary to come out and try to help their team to a win.
And here's Clancy with the bases still loaded, now 1 out. And the player of the week from May the 11th, who was hot down the stretch, takes a strike. At .524 as his average. Slugged 1,000, 2 home runs, 4 doubles, 9 RBIs, with 3 runs scored on that week leading into May 11th. And as a result has the average at .321 on the year. That's how he finished the regular season. And he fouls one off here at 0-2. 6 of his 11 hits in that stretch were for extra bases. Just absolutely out of his mind when they were in Cullowhee.
Come on, Dan.
Playing against Western Carolina earlier in the year in April as well.
Nasty.
This is a guy that when he gets hot can be tough to deal with, and Clancy, who is looking for his first hit here today, with loaded, will instead
clean up hitter.
3. Traglia has battled all the way back from bases loaded, nobody out, to bases loaded, 2 down. The kid from Florence, Alabama, now 1 out of any variety away from putting the Terriers in the same spot we saw Wofford in, walking back to the dugout with no runs after loading the bases here in the bottom of the 5th.
That is so hard to do. Traglia, a guy who has not pitched in this tournament as of yet, and if he's able to get Sanford out of this, we may look back. Sanford's able to make this close again and talk about how big this was.
Yeah.
Well, he gets ahead of the hitter Waln, and this is going to be the toughest guy, at least from the early returns today, for him to retire. Waln, 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored and 2 runs driven in. Already on the day for the Wofford catcher.
Just
the sophomore singled in a run in the 1st, singled in a run and scored a run in the 3rd, and singled and scored another in the 4th. Here's the 0-1.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, he's up in an RBI opportunity once again.
Shaking him off.
But he'll need to convert with 2 down. No balls and 2 strikes. The count to Waln. Devan Traglia called upon to keep the Sanford Bulldogs in striking distance. Kicks and fires the 0-2 pitch.
Got him! Yeah!
And a miss.
Woo!
And Devan Traglia works his magic. Gets a ground ball from Playstead. Then strikes out Clancy and Waln consecutively to work through the most difficult portion of the Wofford order and keep it a 10-3 game after 5. I just arrived